ॐ यो देव सवितास्माकं धियो धर्मादिगोचराः प्रेरयेत्तस्य यद्भर्गः तद्वरेण्यम् उपास्महे।
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुदेवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयामदेवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्ट्वा पुंसस्तनूभिः यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृत्रश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। We continue the discussion on Vivekachudamani. We are in verse number around 285 to 86 there. We were going through a series of verses which were talking Swadhyasa Guru. That series of verses were going on. Deny or the Swadhyasa Guru. That is, get rid of your superimposition. In many ways we were saying. So after that, let us see what he said. Having told how to get rid of the superimposition, now he is dealing with the other factors that are causing the forgetfulness. That is the vismriti. Vismriti means the loss of the memory of what you are. So in spite of knowing what you are through the scripture and logic and one's own realization, internalizing the teaching, in spite of all that, one can go into a temporary amnesia because of the power of vasanas. So what are the various factors that are causing this temporary forgetfulness of the spiritual insight that one has got about oneself? That is, I am Brahman. Having known that I am Brahman, why the identification? If not at least as the level of Viveka, as a Viveki. You all know that you are not the body, you are not the mind, you are not the buddhi. But we always feel as the doer and the enjoyer and the thinker, I am distracted, I am concentrated, I am thinking, all this. No? I am this, I am that. Self-definition through the upadhi, self-definition through the body-mind complex. How this comes? There are so many factors that make you forget this difference between you and the body-mind complex and make you re-identify. That is, it makes you forget the truth about yourself and makes you imagine yourself as what you are not. So there are a few factors that contribute to that. So that is being analyzed now. Nidraya Lokavarthaya Shabdadedapi Vismritehe Kvachinavasaram Dattva Chintayatmanam Atmani. Without giving even the slightest chance for forgetfulness arising from sleep, worldly matters or sense objects, meditate continuously on the self in your mind. Here, the Vismriti is caused by three factors here, which the Guru is advising us not to give in to those. Don't allow these factors to cause the loss of being in touch, the loss of self-remembrance, let us say. Okay? So, do not allow these three factors. The point is, these three factors are going to be there. The art is of nididhyasana, the art of staying put in the self-knowledge, not losing track, is how not to lose sight of yourself in the presence of all. Is it possible for anybody to be without sleep? Unless you are a special samadhi yogi or something. For most cases, even if the person is a jnani, Lamana Maharshi used to sleep every day, he used to eat, and he used to take care of the ashram affairs and all that. So there was always these activities. For example, Nidraya, Lokavartaya, Shabdaderavi. Shabdadera means the different objects of the sense faculties beginning with sound, etc. Sound, touch, smell, taste, and what else? Sight, entertainment. Different objects of the senses. Now I can lose sight of my true nature in sleep. Sleep can cause it. Worldly matters can cause it. Worldly matter, Lokavartaya means different affairs of the world. Now I have to do this, I have to do that, these commitments and all those things. Now, the third one is the sense objects. Now, what is the difference between sense objects and the worldly matters? Worldly matters is where you have the sense of duty, where you have to play a role, where the karta is predominant. The vijnanamaya, the karta, the doer, the thinker in you is predominant. When in the category of worldly matters, means I have to do this, I did not do that, oh my god, I have to finish it in the deadline, or what people will think of me if I don't do that, and what will happen to me if I don't do that, what will happen to me if I do that, what will not happen if I do that, if I don't do that. This kind of different result oriented worries, where one is the agent of action. That is Lokavartaya. Then sleep. Nidraya. Nidraya here is not talking about the normal everyday sleep. How not to allow the sleep to affect the self-remembrance. That means one should not sleep. No. While you are falling asleep and when you are coming out of sleep, don't lose sight of remember what you are. When the mind goes into sleep, be in touch with the truth of self. Let there be self-contemplation on the truth of the self while the mind is falling asleep. Then when the mind wakes up, immediately revert back to the contemplation, revert back to the self-remembrance. There is one shloka that we all chant. Pratasmarami smriti hridi samspurat atmatattvam satchit sukham paramahamsa gatinturiyam yat swapna jagra sushuptim avaiti nityam tad brahma nishkalamaham nacha bhuta sangaha. This is one shloka which we usually chant in the morning to remember. It is there in the, I have some standing in the laptop. So it is Pratasmarami. In the morning I contemplate. Hridi, in the heart, means in the intellect, in the buddhi. At the core of my thinking faculty, at the core of my consciousness is heart. Okay? So, Pratasmarami Hridi Samspurat Atmatattvam. That sense of I, that manifests itself in the heart of my being. When I wake up, I contemplate in the morning on the truth of this I am that wakes up when the sleep is gone. When I wake up from the sleep, that I am, the sense of I am, that spurat means that asserts itself, that manifests itself in the heart. At the moment of waking, I contemplate on the truth of this I am. Sat Chit Sukham, as what? Sat Chit Sukham. Sat means that I contemplate on this I am, on myself, as this essential me. I contemplate on this essential me as the Sat. That which is the absolute, that which is the eternal, that which is not dependent on anything, but that which is the ground of all existence. Chit, that which is of the nature of pure consciousness. Sukham, that which is complete and which is without any struggle. Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam. Paramahamsa Gatim means that which is the path, path of that to which the Paramahamsas go. Those liberated beings who are endowed with the discrimination, those enlightened masters, they go to this Paramahamsa Gatim. It also means that which is above the Hamsa, above the breath, above the Hamsa, means it is that which is above the movements of the breathing, that which is above the mind. That's also one way of telling. But here Paramahamsa Gatim means that which is the domain of the Paramahamsa, that which is the path of the Paramahamsa. Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam. that which is the fourth, that which is the witness for the waking dream and sleep, to which the Paramahamsas go. Paramahamsa Gatim Turiyam. What is Turiyam? Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptim Avaiti Nityam. That which is the witness to the waking dream and sleep eternally, continuously. Tat Brahman Nishkalamaham. That Brahman which is devoid of any limitations, I am. Not the one which is associated with the different bhutas, not that which is associated with the mithya. Nacha bhuta sangaha. I am not associated with the panchabhutas and all this mithya. I am untouched by the mithya. That Brahman which is untouched by the mithya, I am. To remember about oneself like this on the moment of waking up. And to remember this while going to sleep. The truth of oneself to be remembered before sleep. And instantly, the moment you wake up in touch with this truth. This makes sure that the sleep will not affect your self-knowledge. Otherwise, you will wake up, what is the time? Where should I go? What should I do? You know? Instead of that, first that I am comes. Contemplate on the truth of this I am. Let relate to this I amness from the self-knowledge. Awaken the self-knowledge with respect to this I am that you experience at the moment of waking up. When you do that, the sleep will not affect your self-knowledge. Okay? So, what is it? Meditate continuously on the self in your mind. Kvachin na avasaram dattva chintayatmanam atmani. Chintayan atmanam atmani. Without giving any gap. That means when the moment you wake up from the sleep, get to the self-knowledge. Be in touch with self-knowledge. And in the middle of the worldly matters, don't allow the worldly matters to cloud your self-knowledge. That means don't lose touch with your knowledge of yourself as Brahman. Don't lose touch with the truth of yourself. Don't lose touch with the truth of yourself when the body and the mind has to engage in the middle of worldly matters, if it has to be there. In other words, don't consider yourself as responsible for the worldly matters. Do not be involved in the worldly matters actively, egoistically. Can I be involved passively? Don't ask this question. If you say, can I be involved passively, that means you are already active because you want to be involved. You just be devoted to the truth of yourself, worldly life will go on. According to the prarabdha karma of the body and the mind, the life will go. Don't worry, don't think about it. Don't even think about the worldly matters. Just don't entertain actively as no, I have to, with reference to the self. Don't entertain it actively with reference to the self and be completely devoted to the contemplation on yourself as Brahman. No gap. The moment you wake up, even from the moment of waking up till you fall asleep, no gap. Then something happens. Then he says, no, do not allow the sense objects to cloud it. That means the attraction towards sense object. Means here he is talking about two things. Lokavartayaha means aham karta. You are dealing with the sense of doership. Shabdaderapi, when it comes the different sense objects beginning with sound, etc., it means you as the enjoyer, bhokta. So the kartrutvam and the bhoktutvam, I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. Do not entertain this idea about yourself. When you are going behind the sense object, when there is a desire for an object of one of the five senses or a combination of that, then at that moment when there is a desire, you are considering yourself as an enjoyer, as a bhokta. When you are worried about doing something and you are entertaining different duties and obligations, you are considering yourself as a doer. So these are all indicated. So from that, check the doership, be free from the doership. Check your sense of being an enjoyer, be free from the sense of enjoyership. This is to be done all times without break. And without about sleep, it is about the anandamaya kosha. It is about the forgetfulness. What happens when you do this smarana with the sleep? Directly at the level of vijnana, that the core of vijnana, you can catch it. When you do it regularly, there will be, very soon you can experience a certain kind of a samadhi where the mind goes into sleep but just switches off. Before the sleep, the mind switches off from the world. Right? It absorbs inside. After absorbing inside, it will not go into sleep. It will slip into a certain kind of a light. There will be an experience of light sometimes, or it will be just a pure unconditioned awareness. It's a certain kind of, it's a milder form of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which you can experience. If you do this practice regularly, you can see the mind going to sleep and coming out. And even in the dream you will remember. It will be very interesting experience. The Gaudapada Karika for Mandukya Upanishad, it talks about this. Liyasehi sushupte tan nigrihitam naliyate tadeva nirvayam brahma jnanalokam samantataha. It comes in a section where he talks about being established in the self-knowledge. Being in the section where he explains a method called Asparsha Yoga, the yoga of not getting attached. Okay? Not touching. Yoga of no touch. Asparsha means you are not touched with the upadhi, you are not identifying. The yoga of non-identification. That's all it is. So there he says, when the mind gets absorbed, that is sleep. Liyatehi sushupte. Sleep is of the nature of getting the mind absorbed, sucking the mind into it. Liyate, becoming totally engrossed, that is sleep. Tam nigrihita. Suppose if you resist and don't allow the mind to be lost in the sleep, and you stay in self-remembrance, tam nigrihitam, when you take it out of that, na liyate. It will not get absorbed. There will be no sleep. Then you are neither awake nor you are sleeping. The mind is not involved in different cognitions, nor is the mind lost into any that laya of sleep, that forgetfulness. I don't know anything. That is a vritti. Virama pratyaya alambana vritti nidra. That modification of the mind, abhava pratyaya alambana vritti nidra. Abhava, not virama. Abhava pratyaya means the content of the mind which has the thought modification, which has for its object absence of things. Absence of abhava means nothingness. The content of the mind that has for its content nothingness. The modification of the mind that has for its content nothingness. Abhava pratyaya. So that when the buddhi takes support of nothingness, that is sleep. Abhava pratyaya alambana, supported by the idea of nothingness. I don't know anything. If I ask you, I slept very well. What did you see in sleep? Nothing. That means you are holding on to the idea of nothing. When the mind is completely absorbed in nothingness, it is sleep. Abhava pratyaya alambana vrittir nidra, sleep. So now that laya, that absorption into that vritti of nothingness, if you resist and don't go into it, there is a certain temptation. It's like a pleasure. In sleep, there is a pleasure. That is why the sleep is so dear to us. In every pleasure, you experience actually sleep. And sleep by itself is Sukha Swarupaha, Ananda Swarupaha, means the absence of any struggle. So the mind goes into laya. At that time, you don't allow the mind to go into laya and resist that. Have vairagya for that experience of sleep. It will go into a certain kind of pure awareness where no object, unqualified pure awareness. Sometimes in the visual cortex you may experience some light, some flashes of light and white light and all that. But that is secondary. That does not last for too long. Sometimes it will be only light, it will be like matrix, you are in the middle, you only light everywhere. It can be like that. But it depends on the person. But basically it is pure awareness, unconditioned awareness and pure peace. It's like that. So that will come. That is a yogic, that is not knowledge, that is a yogic experience, but which is very useful for knowledge. So by these practices, you can make sure that the self-knowledge is not obstructed by the sleep, which is very much possible and natural, that's okay. By the affairs of the world, which will be there, but you have to learn how not to be associated with it as a doer. You don't attribute doership to your association with worldly matters. The body and mind, things, guna guneshu vartante, things act, qualities act on qualities, things act on things. Nothing happens to me. I do nothing. In Bhagavad Gita it comes in the 3rd chapter. The wise person is resting quietly with the understanding that things act on things. I do nothing, nothing affects me. That is what it is. So, loka vartaraha, in the affairs of the world, Do not lose yourself. And in the objects of the senses, do not lose yourself by giving in to your sense of being enjoyed. In the affairs of the world, don't lose yourself by giving in to the sense of being a doer. And don't desire for this, don't be lost. Don't forget to contemplate on the self when the mind goes into sleep and wakes out of sleep. Like this, Vedanta, Jnanam, the knowledge of the Vedanta, knowledge of the self can be maintained in all the 3 periods of time. Vedanta, Trishu Kaleshu, in all 3 periods of time. Okay. Then the next one. Mata Pitror Malodbhutam Malamam Samayam Vapu Tyatva Chandala Vadduram Brahmi Bhuya Kriti Bhala. Develop a distaste for this body, like how, that is, he says keep the body away like an outcast. How you treat an outcast, like a Chandala. Chandala, that means keeping the body. How can you keep the body away? You can keep somebody's body away. That itself is difficult. So how to keep your own body away? Means cognitively. That means do not get attached to the body. Don't give importance to the body. Because understand, this body is nothing great. It is just a product of the reproductive fluid of your mother and father coming together, and then accumulation of a lot of food and trash and mala impurities and everything, and that's all this body. When you cut the body, you see only this. And it's not a very pleasant sight. You just remove the skin from a person and you cannot look at the person. You go to that anatomy exhibition in there, in Victoria. Go there, you will see what is the body. So remember, that is what body is. So keep it at a distance. And and may you take refuge in the knowledge of yourself as Brahman. Become Brahman means what? Don't think you are an individual based on the body. Keep your body identification at a distance. That means may you develop insight into the disgustful nature of the body. Thereby you wouldn't want to be defined as a body. You may think, suppose if you are luckily you have a really handsome body or a good height and whatever, and shape and whatever, color of hair, blonde, blue eyes, all that. Suppose if you have all that and you are very happy about the way the body is, then your self-definition comes from a good-looking body. But there is a song in Bhajagovinda, Makuru Dhana Jana Yavana Garbam Hasinimesha Kalas Sarvam. These great things that you are very proud of, Dhana, money, Jana, your relations and people and friends and relatives. Yavana means your Garvam, means the pride that you get from your youth. Garvam, Harasi Nimesha Kalas Sarvam. Harasi Nimesha means in a fraction of a moment it's gone, of time it's gone. That means what? One batting of the eyelid it is gone. Because when you are very engrossed in something that is very enticing, time runs very fast. Every time I used to wonder, only now I feel that I am going to the kindergarten in my father's cycle sitting in the front, which there's only seat, and I used to sit there, he will tell me stories and going to school. Suddenly I am so grown up, and I am already 39 years old, what is this? I used to wonder, how I will grow up so many years and do BSc and all those college degrees. Already I have to do so much homework, mathematics and all is so difficult. How difficult it will be in college? I used to wonder. And I used to get I'm very anxious about it. Who is going to study, man? It's such a boring proposal, All these years I have to study. And how all these people finished all this graduation and everything, it should be a big wonder for me. So now suddenly, it's all over. And already in another few more decades, you are in the graveyard. So this is what is life. So Makuru Dhanajana Yavana Dharma, Harasi Dimesha Karas Sarvam. That Shankaracharya tells in Bhajagovinda. So, if you are very proud about certain possessions of the body, contemplate on the inherent defects in the body. Your beauty is only skin deep. And if you are not very satisfied with the body, don't worry, nobody is faring better anyway. Everybody's body is the same bunch of food and impurities and flesh and blood and all kinds of things, which is not a very pleasant sight to look at once the life leaves the body. So, develop a distaste for this self-definition through the body. When you develop a distaste for this self-definition through the body, your Deha Vasana comes down. When your Deha Vasana comes down, one of the main obstacles for this self-knowledge to shine, that obstacle is gone. So your self-knowledge will shine much brighter when your Deha Vasana is attenuated. It has come down instant, it has become weak or incapable of disturbing your self-knowledge. Okay. So, and there is a word used, Kriti Bhava. Kriti Bhava means Krita Kritya Bhava. May you become the one who has done all that needs to be done. Becoming, understanding, being firmly established in the knowledge that you are Brahman, what you will get. We chanted Bhagavad Gita before food, no? In that, Tamev Chadhyam Purusham Prabhatyena Pravati Praslavana Dhamma Sandosha Adhyatmanitya Vivartanama Vimukta Sukadukka Sanyehi Paramabhiyantata Bhasmite Shanko. Aham Vishwaro Bhutva Pranidam Dehamashira Prana Pranasmajuktha Samyanam Supravidam Sarvasya Chaham Hridisannivishtaha Tasmadinana Bhoganam Cha Vedesya Sarvaya Hameva Vedyo Vedanta Veda Videva Chaham Sarvani Bhutani Purushastanya Anatmeti Dagara Yolo Gatraya Manishya Bhivatatya Ishvara Yasman Sharamati Tokam Asharada Vishottamaha Smyoki Vedesya Those who know that attain that state where they have accomplished all that has to be accomplished. I have done all that. Kritakrityascha Bharata, it will come. Wait, I will tell you the shloka. It's a beautiful shloka in the 15th chapter. Etat buddhvan buddhiman syat kritakrityascha bharata. Etat buddhvan buddhiman syat. That person who knows this means what? The oneness of the oneself with the Supreme. Etat buddhvan buddhiman syat. That person, the knower, kritakrityascha bharata. He accomplishes, he attains that state where he feels he has done all that needs to be done. He has nothing other than eating and sleeping and getting rid of the excess food from the body. He has nothing else to do as long as the body is alive. Literally, this is what Vivekachudamani commentary. He says, that person has nothing. A few verses before we saw in the last class, that person, other than eating and evacuating, he has no other job to do. That means what? As long as the body is there, it has to be kept alive. It is kept alive. Sometimes it is not that they don't care to keep the body also alive. Somebody comes and feeds. They are there. Absorbed all the time. So, kritakritya means I have done all that I need to do. There is nothing more yet to be done. Purushartha Sunyana, in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, he uses the verse. Purushartha, last verse of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Purushartha Sunyana Gunanam Pratiprasavaha Kaivalyam Swarupa Pratishtha Chidishakti. One sutra comes. But it is, you can also use it for Vedantic way of saying, where there is nothing to accomplish anymore. Dharma, na dharmi, na charto, na kamo, na moksha. I am not the person who is seeking dharma. I am not the person who is seeking artha. I am not the person who is seeking kama. Nor am I the person seeking moksha. That is the mukta. The person who is liberated does not look for moksha. He is liberated. He has nothing to look for. That is called krita kritya. So kriti bhava means become the one who has accomplished all that needs to be accomplished. The one who is not looking for anything. Completely satisfied in the completeness of the nature of oneself. That is the verse here. Then the next one. Gathakasham mahakasha ivatmanam paratmani vilapyakhanda bhavena tushni bhava sadamani. Resolving the individual identity in the supreme truth of the self, which is Brahman. Just like how the pot space is understood as one with the infinite space that surrounds in and outside the pot, Thus, by meditating on the oneness between the self and the supreme, on yourself and Brahman, like how you meditate on the oneness between the space inside the pot and the space outside the pot. In the same way, meditating on the identity between the Jivatma and Paramatma, may you be ever peaceful in the realization of that one without a second. So it is only knowledge. You don't need to break the cup to meditate on the oneness between the space inside the cup and outside the cup. The cup can very much be there. You just shift your attention from the cup and the space in the cup to the oneness between the space outside and the cup inside. Suppose if you say, to understand the space inside the cup is very important, to feel it with deep. That is good. That is focusing on the space inside the cup is for the one who wants to fill the cup with tea. Not for the one who wants to merge all the differences and rise beyond the need to drink tea. Right? So this discourse is always connected. A system of knowledge is always connected with a purpose. This is what I keep telling all the time. One of the main problems of people here is they lose touch with the purpose. When we have a teaching, the teaching is tied to a purpose. The purpose is moksha. How do you get moksha? By knowing your swarupa, by knowing your true nature. By knowing your true nature, you realize that moksha is your nature. Okay? That you are already liberated. That realization is moksha. Which comes by de-identification with the individuality. But a person who is busy in satisfying the needs of the individuality, in defining the individuality, in shaping the individuality, a person who is interested in personality development, spiritual personality development or worldly personality development, muscular development, any development of the personality, that person is a arthi or a kami or a dhami. He is not a moksha. That person is not looking for moksha, so this teaching is not for the person. Or not for that context. That is why they say, karya dvaitam na kadhichit. Do not bring Advaita into everyday actions and everyday affairs. When the body is hungry, give the body food. You may contemplate on the nature of you not being the eater and you not being the one who is digesting and enjoying the food. I am not eating. You can contemplate on that while giving the body food. That is okay. But don't ask who is hungry, what is food, what is digestion, what is life. That is not, all this is one. Food is Brahman. You tell all that and still you eat. No, Brahma, Pranam, Brahma, Hari. The one which is eaten is Brahman. The where it goes is Brahman. Where it is digested is Brahman. After digesting, what it becomes is Brahman. All that you say. Anyway, it's all Brahman. I am that Brahman. So why do you eat? Take the plate. Will it work? No. You chant that everything is Brahman, then you eat. That means what? You don't eat, but eating goes on, right? So, that means don't bring Advaita into everyday. So don't lose the sense of purpose. When we are talking about Brahman and the cup space and the space outside, it is only an analogy to say that actually there is no separation. It is only one space in which the cup is. Similarly, there is no separation between me and the God. There is only one entity in which this body is there. In that, the body is animated. In this body, the animating force is that one entity which animates and sustains everything. And that is me, and I am that. I am not this I am not defined by this body. I am the supreme Brahman in which everything is. That is the combination. Swaprakasham adhishthanam swayam bhuya sadatmana brahmandam api pindandam yajyatam malabhandavat. Swaprakasham adhishthanam swayam bhuya. Swaprakasham, self-effulgent, adhishthanam, swayam. Adhishthanam means that which lends existence to something else. Wood is the adhishthanam for this book stand. Wood is the adhishthanam. Swaprakasham adhishthanam, that which is the self-effulgent existential base for your individuality. So I am doing, I am enjoying, I am listening, I am talking. Right? So all this when we say, now the phenomena that is manifest, that is the body or the mind or the activity of the mind or the experience of the mind, the sense faculties, the thinking pattern, the ideas, all of this can be objectified. My idea, my knowledge, my ignorance. But what is this my behind? There is this me, the I am, who is self-evident and who cannot be objectified. So I, the fundamental me, I am aware of myself. I am the awareness. It's not I am aware of myself. Then I will ask how you are aware of yourself. Are you having a special light inside with which you are aware of yourself? No, you are the awareness. Awareness, you are the awareness who is aware of itself. The awareness is aware of itself, which is you are aware of yourself. It is better to say that you are aware of yourself than say awareness is aware of itself. Then awareness becomes something else. It is sitting inside aware of itself. Not that. You are aware of yourself. So prakasham means self-evident, self-shining. Just like how the objects, to see the objects I need light, but to see the light I don't need anything else. Light is swaprakasham. That is why we show arati to the deity. In that we chant Natatra Suryo Bhadina Jandataram Nema Vidyut Bhanti Udoyamam Tameva Manuthamanubhad Sarvam. It is because of that everything is shines, but that which is not shown by any other light. It is because of that which everything is lighted up, but that which is not lighted up by anything else, that which is the light of everything. Because of which the sun shines and the stars shine. We tell that mantra when we do arati. So we are remembering the truth of the self-evidence me at the time of arati. When you chant the Kathopanishad mantra. Asya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. Because of that shine, everything else shines. So swaprakasham, self-evident, self-shining, aware of the nature of awareness me. Swaprakasham adhishthanam. Swaprakasham adhishthanam. That self-evident existential base for your individuality. Swaprakasham adhishthanam. That's also not the existential base for your individuality. It is also the existential base for everything. That self-evident I am, the self-awareness which is shining as I in you, your own self-aware, your own nature as awareness, which is self-evident. This self-awareness is the existential base of everything which is Brahman. Swayam Bhuya, becoming that. Becoming that which is Brahman, Swayam Bhuya means understanding that you are that which is everything. Me, the self-evident to myself, that self-awareness, me who is experiencing myself as self-evident awareness, I am that which is everything. And owning up this understanding about yourself. Swayam Bhuya Sadatmana Brahmandamapi Sadatmana Brahmandamapi Pindandam Tyajyatam. Sadatmana Tyajyatam here means renounce this. Sadatmana Brahmandamapi Pindandam Tyajyatam. Renounce this self-definition that comes through the body. Reject, that is Tyajyatam. Renounce your idea of self based on the distinction between the cosmic macrocosm and the microcosm. I and the world. This duality. Renounce this self-definition that comes from duality and that comes from identification with the body. So renounce that and take refuge in the knowledge that you are that which is the existential base for everything. Tyajyatam malabhandavat. Like how you would discard a pot, a vessel full of filth. How you would discard that. That means, may you discard the dualistic thinking, like how you would discard a vessel full of filth. Because it is, why? Because it leads to all the impurities. It leads to the klesha, it leads to the karma, it leads to the whole cycle of samsara, it leads to all the suffering, it leads to the sense of limitation. So, what is mala? Mala is that which is not needed. Filth is what is not needed. I have taken all that, the essence is taken. What is left over is the sludge, the slag. How you would discard a slag? Discard it. It has served its purpose. So don't keep entertaining this macrocosm, microcosm, divide, and don't keep entertaining this self-definition through this body-mind complex. That is right. Chidatmani sadanande deharudha mahandhiyam niveshya lingamusrujya kevalo bhavat sarvada. Chidatmani sadanande deharudham aham dhiyam niveshya. By extracting or by completely getting rid of this mentality to consider oneself as the body, may you delight in the truth of yourself. Chidatmani means that self which is of the nature of pure consciousness. Also renounce or also reject the validity of the subtle body. For example, the physical body is very easy to understand. Why he is giving this distinction? Change your identification which is now rooted in the body entirely from that to the self which is the Satchitananda, which is the Brahman. And also discarding the subtle body, remain ever as the pure self alone. Why this? When you say body, subtle body is meant. But why to mention subtle body especially? Because practically speaking, it's very easy to willfully operate my physical consciousness. Lift your hand, open your mouth, close, speak, all that. We are able to operate at a physical level. Get out of the body and sit there. How many of us can do? Maybe there are some special yogi, mystic people who are practicing out of the body travel. But that's not normal thing. In Vedanta, we will never use an exception as a general teaching instruction. Teaching instruction is always given based on normal common sense style. You don't recommend things that are completely off the hook, which is not the normal life experience. Normal waking, dream, sleep. Using this experience, you can attain absolute perfect enlightenment. That is the whole beauty of Vedanta. So what he says. Now, what is the reason of this? Reject or discard the subtle body also. Lingam usrujya means Linga Sharira. Lingam means subtle body. Subtle body is what? Subtle body is made of 17 components. The Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankara, Karmanendriyas, 5 Jnanendriyas, and along with the causal body and pranas, pancha pranas, all put together, or pancha prana, pancha indriya, pancha karmendriya, pancha jnanendriya, pancha prana, manas and buddhi. This put together is the subtle body. Okay, this is the 17 components. 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception, 5 pranas, mind and buddhi. This is the subtle body. Because the consciousness shines in the subtle body, because of that, it appears as though the consciousness is limited to the space of the body. Subtle body is what connects the consciousness with the physical body. Okay? But your consciousness, because of the limitations of the subtle body, you cannot have out of body consciousness, absolute consciousness. So Brahman consciousness, all that such things don't exist. Brahman is consciousness. I have to understand this consciousness is Brahman. We are not asking you to get rid of body consciousness. Body consciousness comes from subtle body. Now, having de-identified yourself from the physical body, which is very easily visible, discernible, but the subtle body is not so discernible and tangible like the physical body. So, cognitively, get rid of your self-definition based on the subtle body. Don't define yourself as the individual because you will feel like the individual. In spite of rejecting the identification with the physical body, still the individual feeling continues. That feeling as an individual is sahajam, karmajanyam. It is natural. It is the result of the past karma and all that. So till the prarabdha karma is gone, it is going to hang on. So, with the knowledge that this is the play of the subtle body, reject the subtle body also. That means reject this feeling. Don't take this feeling as something that is defining yourself. Just take refuge in the knowledge that I am Brahman by rejecting the identification with the physical body, where you can operate your buddhi is very active. In the subtle body, the buddhi is not always active, but the whole subtle body, put it in one bundle, a subtle body, and de-identify it from it. And may you be always established in the knowledge of the Brahman. Yatraisha jagadabhaso darpanantah puram yatha tat brahmahamiti jnatva kritakrityo bhavishyasi. यत्र एष जगदाभासो दर्पणांत पुरम यथा, that in which there is एष जगदाभासः, the reflection of this jagat, this universe, darpanantah, in the mirror, puram yatha, like the city reflected in the mirror, tat brahma aham iti jnatva kritakritya bhavishyasi. May you become that person who has done all that needs to be done by understanding that this universe, this world, Jagat, means all that comes and goes is Jagat. Jagat is Jagat. Ja means coming, Gat means Gata, gone. Is Jagat. So Jagat is all that comes and goes is Jagat. So all this phenomena appears in Brahman just like how a city appears in the mirror, but it is not in the mirror. Now I go to the top of Sinaya, and from there I take a big mirror and they put the mirror on the top. The whole Transylvania will be shown in the mirror. Right? So is Transylvania? Wow, such a huge mirror, it has the whole Transylvania. Then you may even check, oh, that is my village, that is their village. Looking at the mirror, because it is easy to point out. But is it there in the mirror? No. Similarly, the world is appearing in Brahman because of the mirror-like quality of Maya. It is just the world is mirrored in Brahman. The world is not in Brahman. In the sense, the Brahman does not have it. The world is not there. It is only an appearance. Just like how a city or things appearing in the mirror is only an appearance, and it is not the content of the mirror. So it is devoid of content. Just like that, understand yourself to be that Brahman which is untouched. So here the importance is given to the quality of being untouched. The mirror is not affected by what is reflected in the mirror. So see, each verse is appealing to one specific psychological problem that can cause forgetfulness, that can cause vismriti, considering yourself to be an individual, that can take you off track from self-knowledge. One of the things is the apparent appearance of the world, whatever happens in the world. World means all that is around and all that is inside. All put together is world. So whatever happens in the subject-object process of interaction triad called world is not affecting you. Remember that no matter what happens, nothing affects you. Just like how there is absolutely no effect on the mirror based on what is reflecting on the mirror. Anything can be reflected in the mirror. The whole city can be reflected in the mirror. There may be war in the city. There may be spring and spring festival in the city. Mirror remains mirror. Similarly, you are the Brahman that is not affected by anything that happens. Understand this and be the one who has accomplished everything. That means you will not, when you understand this, you will not be sucked into samsara. You will not be sucked into the game of thinking that you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to accomplish this, you have to accomplish that. You will not be sucked into this game. Because you don't see yourself as part of the world. The whole world appears in you and disappears in you. Nothing happens to you. You remain as you are. You are Brahman. That is it. Yat satyabhutam nijarupamadhyam chidadvayanandamarupamakryam tadetya mithya vapurut srujeta शैलूषवद् देश उपात्तम आत्मनः शैलूषवद् द्वेषम उपात्तम आत्मनः शैलूषवद् द्वेषम उपात्तम आत्मनः. Okay. Attaining that which is intrinsically one's own very essence, yet satya bhutam nijarupam adyam, that which is of the true nature of oneself. What is your true form? Nija. Nija Rupam Adyam. Nija Rupam means your true form. Yet Satya Bhutam, that which is the true thing. Satya Bhutam means that which is the true thing. Sadvastu. Which is your true nature. Nija Rupam Adyam. Your primordial, unaffected, fundamental nature, which is the Satya Bhutam. Chit Advayam Ananda Rupam Akriyam. Chit Advayam Advayam means it is one without a second. There is nothing other than it. That alone is Chit, it is of the nature of consciousness. Ananda Rupam, which is of the nature of unboundedness, completeness. Akriyam, it is completely devoid of any action. It does not act. Akriyam means there is no action. It doesn't do anything. Etya Mithyava Purush Treja Nityavahu Utsrujeda. Attaining that means by understanding yourself as that true self-knowledge. Mityavahu, the false body, Utsrujeda, give up the false notions about yourself. Defining yourself as one of these Mithya. And Shailushavad Vesham Upatham Atmanah. Just like how don't take the different apparent identities that appear to be yourself, like body, mind, etc. Just like how an actor would not take that role as himself. He would not define his identity on the role. Similarly, may you not define your identity based on this Mithya self, but may you understand you are that pure consciousness which is witnessing everything, which is the Brahman, which is the Satvastu. That's all. So, like an actor, that means what? The experience of the role will be there, but you just don't identify. That's what he's saying. Like when an actor decides to give up, it also there is one more thing. Utsrujya means should give up. Like how an actor would give up his special dress, attire, costume. How an actor would give up, why this giving up is in, you may say, you can understand that you have the costume. You are actor, you can just play your role. That does not apply here because the teaching is for a sannyasi, for a renunciant. So when you are asking to be completely established in self-knowledge, like when an actor would give up the costume after the drama is over. For a person who is a mukta, your drama is over. Kritakritya. I have done all that needs to be done. I don't need to play any roles. No roles bind me either. So an actor is finished his drama, he is ready to give up his costume. Like how an actor would give up his costume, give up your identification with the Mithyatma and understanding you are the Satyatma. Give up your identification with the false self, which is only a functional identity, it has done its job. Cognitively dumped it. And also it's a very interesting analogy. An actor would give up his costume, he wouldn't throw the costume into the trash. He will put it in its appropriate place. Costume has its value. Difficult to make a good costume. No? Next drama they will wear the costume again and come. So that means it also is a very suggestive thing where how an actor removes the costume means when you have nothing to do, may you be devoted to your true nature. And when there are things to be done, may you treat it only as a costume, you are not that. That can be the translation and adaptation for us. Now the false perceived I factor is coming. The next topic. सर्वात्मना दृश्यमिदं क्षणिकत्वदर्शनात् जानाम्यहं सर्वमिति प्रतीतिः कुतो अहमादौ क्षणिकस्य सिद्धे। मृषा एव न एव अहम् अर्थः। क्षणिकत्वदर्शना, not for it seem to be fleeting and momentary. This world that is seen is unreal indeed and nothing else. I, that means the aham means the self-identity. No, here aham, artha, kshanikatva, aham artha. Aham artha kshanikatva darshanat janami aham sarvam. Now, everything in this world, the translation is very bad. Everything in this world is unreal. Everything in this world is mrisha. Mrisha means is only an appearance. Everything in this world is only an appearance, which is not, which is devoid of content. Eva, it means mithya. Ahamartha kshanikatva darshanat. Ahamartha means this ego, this identity considers itself to be real and I know everything. This ego which is considering itself to be real and that it knows everything is also fleeting and momentary because it is seen to change from time to time. See, the ego itself is not real, it is momentary, it comes and goes. It appears according to the different contexts, you have different egos and different identities. That being the case, how can the apparent notion of the I, apparent idea that I know everything, I know all these things, no, I am doing all these things, this kind of idea, how can it be true when the very basis, the very content of all this I know, I am doing, I am experiencing ideas about yourself, the very content of which the very material with which this is made, which is the ego principle, that itself is momentary and unreal. How the products of the ego will be real? So it is not real. That is all it means. So all the things in the world are seen very clearly unreal and they are only mithya. Similarly, your ego, all ego and its products are unreal because the ego itself being unreal, the products of the ego structure are also unreal. Here basically in the next verses he is reinforcing this dismissal of the sense of reality that we have in the ego structure, in the identity, in the products of the identity, in the sense of doership and enjoyership, and in the different likes and dislikes that are based on this identity. This whole structure of this individuality is being the validity of this, the reality value is being taken out of this. So he is reinforcing the idea that see, this is not, it doesn't have any reality value. It is only momentary, it is only functional. Don't define yourself based on this. So that is what is repeatedly is telling the same thing again and again. Because no matter how many times we hear, how many times we think, we are going to go back to the same idea of self-definition through it's called abhyasa, means repetition. The same idea keeps repeating to reinforce that samskara in the student. Okay. So he is basically telling the same thing in these verses. Aham padarthas vahama sakshi nityam Sityam sushuptavapi bhava darshanat bhrute स्वयं तत्प्रत्यगात्मा सदसद्विलक्षणः अहम पदार्थः. The true content or the true entity that is denoted by the word I am is nothing but the Adi Sakshi, the primary witness. That means that which cannot be witnessed by everything else, that which witnesses everything else. The first witness, the first person, the ultimate first person. When I say my body, my mind, these are all mine, but I cannot say I and my this, my that. So all this and that are secondary, but the primary thing, that self, what is that ultimate I, is of the nature of awareness, and that is the witness of everything else. Okay. So now this I, the witness, is always there. The real I, which is mistakenly taken as the ahankara, the ego, but the real I is actually the witness, which is always there even in deep sleep. It is unborn, eternal. That is the ajo nitya shashvato ayam purano nahanyate nahanyamane sharire. That is comes in Katha Upanishad. So he is quoting the Katha Upanishad here. So this eternal, ancient, timeless self, which is the witness of all the three states. If you say it is how come it is there in the deep sleep also, we have the testimony of the Shruti, the Veda. I cannot say I experienced in Samadhi that the self was there witnessing the deep sleep also. That does not become a valid knowledge. Maybe you are having some brain problem. Somebody will say. So there is a brain can create an illusion of the self, and then they will reproduce the same experience by putting electrodes in somebody else's brain. Because we will say that, he is correct. It is Shruti says, the Veda says, the Kathopanishad says, Shashvato, I can say this is eternal and never changing and constant, which is the witness of everything. Sakshi. So he quotes the Shruti because the validity of knowledge, the Pramanatvam comes there. The concept gains Pramanatvam only when it is associated with one of the Pramanas. Pramanatvam means the quality of being a valid knowledge. Quality of being a valid knowledge comes only when it is agreed by a valid instrument of knowledge. There is a scout with a camera here. What is the pramana? I. All of us see. Do you see? Yes. Do you see? Yes. Call somebody from the road. See, because you are all my student, you may want to be nice to me. I call some fellow who hates Vedanta, and then he comes. There is a see. The stool is there. The camera is there. Because I is pramana. Validity, valid knowledge. Somebody is meditating, you ask the person, do you see the camera in the third eye? Yes, I see. It is a black camera, it is a Samsung camera. How do you know that you are right? I will tell you. He will open the eyes and look at this. See? It is the Samsung camera. So, valid knowledge is what? Your eyes. Similarly, regarding things that are not objectifiable by the senses, the self is not objectifiable by your senses. When the self is not objectifiable, what will come about it? Something that is not objectifiable, how can perception talk about it? Because it cannot be perceived. It is that which perceives everything. What can perceive that? Nothing can perceive that. And what cannot be perceived, how can you analyze about that? You cannot analyze. So what is the pramana? Veda is the pramana for all these things. So the Veda says, Shashvato, I am pramana. This is the eternal witness which is unchanging and constant, always there, witness of the waking dream and sleep. So if you object, actually you can also experience that you are not the one who is sleeping. But that is not pramana, because it is a subjective experience, so it is not pramana. So the methodology of teaching always quotes the Veda as pramana regarding something that cannot be objectified. So here we can learn about the methodology. We see the methodology. Yajo nitya, unborn, eternal, iti shruti. Brute means Shruti says like this. Swayam tat pratyagatma sadasat vilakshanam. That you are, that pratyagatma, this self which is inside everything. Not like a banana peel, body, prana, mind, intellect, one by one. As it looks as though it is inside everything. Inside means it is something like when water is suspended suspended, the cloth is suspended in water. The water is in through the cloth. The cloth is in the water is also in the cloth. You take the cloth out, you will see all water particles inside. But it is not just the water is inside the cloth is inside the water. Both are true. So for this context, experientially, you can trace your sense of self which is inside everything. Means, I experience myself in the context of this body. I experience myself in the context. So behind every aspect of my personality is this self. So it is Pratyagatma, means the Atma that is inside everything. Which is, why it is inside? When all my outwardness is gone, I experience myself. When I am no more outward, Paranga, I am Pratyaka. I am within. When I am no more without, I am within. So the self which is experienced as a self-existent reality, when the mind is not going anywhere, so it is called as the self which is inside, relatively. Pratyekatma sadasat vilakshana, that which is devoid of the nature of neither the gross nor the subtle. Sat asat here means gross and subtle. That which is manifest, that which is unmanifest. Same in the Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter, it comes. It is neither the Kshara, Akshara and the Purushottama, which is that which is beyond the Kshara and the Akshara. The perishable, the imperishable, and that which is beyond the perishable and the imperishable. Which means perishable is the manifest, unmanifest is imperishable, cup is perishable, I can break the cup. The knowledge of making the cup is imperishable, that is unmanifest. I can make any number of cups because the knowledge of the cup as a possibility is unmanifest. That is imperishable. That which is beyond the perishable and the imperishable, that which is neither the perishable nor the imperishable. That means what? It is not of any quality. You cannot objectify it as, even that knowledge can be objectified, but you cannot objectify it. So sat asat vilakshana, you cannot call it as perishable. Because it is not perishable, you cannot call it as imperishable either because it is not a thing. So it is sat asat vilakshana. Here, relatively, it is not so you are not pitching an imperishable self against the perishable world. Being devoid of perishability and imperishableness, it is that which contains everything. Everything is that, but that is nothing. There is none of the things. Don't immediately jump, there is nothing. There is none of the things. Okay. Here is the translation. Inmost self different from the relative truth and the untruth. Sat asat, truth and truth. You know, read the commentary. Vikarinam sarva vikaravetta nitya vikaro bhavitum samarvati manorathas swapna sushuptishu sphutam punaha punardrishtam asatvam etayoho. Of the changing things, vikarinam sarva vikaravetto, he is the knower of all the changes. Nitya avikaraha, which is not the changing thing. Bhavitum, to be, samarhati, deserved should be, manoratha, in fancy, swapna, in dream, sushuptishu. Okay. See, that, so there is something that is changing. And there is something that is aware of what is changing. So that which is aware of what is changing, relatively it is not changing. That which is aware of all the changes, but that which itself is not, there is nothing to be aware of it, but that which is the ultimate witness of all the changing phenomena, that is ultimately changeless. Okay? Just like how the unreality of the gross and the subtle bodies is clearly perceived in one's imagination and in dreams and in the dreamless sleep. So all things come and go in your imagination, in your daydreaming. Things are all unreal, and these unreal things come and go. Similarly, this world also, everything is changing, comes and goes, and you are perceiving everything. So know yourself to be that changeless. you are the changeless because you are perceiving the change. Anything that perceives the change has to be the changeless with respect to that. So know yourself to be the changeless. Therefore, give up your identification with this mass of flesh and with the ego and the subtle body, which are imaginations of the mind. By realizing your own self, which is absolute, he is preparing the ground in the previous one. He says, see, the unreality of the gross and subtle bodies is clearly perceived in one's imagination, in dreams, and in the dreamless sleep. Because we see in the dreams, what comes is not true when you wake up. What you are perceiving in your imagination in the daydream, somebody shakes you up, it is understood to be false, it is devoid of content. In the deep sleep, of course, this world is not there. Whatever, if you say the world is real, where is this world in the deep sleep? It is not there. So, in one experience, another experience is denied its existence. So, what the reality of something that is constantly changing cannot be considered to be always real. That is why we have this famous comedy with the Zen master who says, who woke up crying. I dreamt of butterfly I saw a butterfly in that's wonderful. But now I have a doubt. He said, me who dreamt the butterfly and woke up, it is the butterfly who is dreaming that it is me. In the dream, I was a butterfly. So now, I have woken up. Is it the butterfly which thinks that it is me, or it is me who dreamt the butterfly? He is in a big doubt. That is true or this is true. Because both are changed. Because in this, what is there in the waking state is absent in the dream state. What is there in the dream state is absent in the deep sleep state. What is in the waking and dream is absent in the deep sleep state. What you experience in the deep sleep state, you don't experience in the waking state. What you experience in your imagination, it is gone once the imagination stops. So all these phenomena are subject to change. So know them all to be unreal. So he is providing the ground here. Now what he is saying? That which is the knower of all changes in all things which undergoes change must be doubtless the eternal and the changes. The premise is right. What is the next one he is saying? By realizing your own true nature, which is pure knowledge, which cannot be negated in 3 periods of time. Atho bhimanam tyajat mamsapinde. Hey, give up your self-identity which is based on this physical body. Pindavimaniyapi buddhi kalpite. This idea of me, I am this person, this idea is also a creation of the buddhi, which is subject to change, which you don't experience in your dream. This self-identity based on the body is constantly changing. Because one day you say I feel good, one day you say I feel bad, one day you say I look good, one day you say I look bad. So this Dehabhimana, me based on the body, is a phenomena created by the buddhi and it is always changing and you are aware of the change. That is why when I ask you, how do you do? Today I am not okay. How do you do? Today, how are you doing today? Today I am doing great. But yesterday you said you are not doing okay. That was yesterday, but today I feel okay. You say, so you are the constant factor behind this okay and not okay. So this Deha Abhimanam, the self-identity based on the body, is sometimes okay, sometimes not okay, it is all the time changing, but you are always witnessing the change. So, and also you are continuing to be consistently true across all the 3 experiences of waking, dream and sleep. It is not somebody who borrowed money in the waking state and somebody who slept and then somebody else who wake up in the next day, oh that fellow went to sleep yesterday, today I am different. I did not, today I am a new person, every day is new, every moment is new, I did not borrow the money, you cannot say, bank will take away your house. So, this I continues, the identity of I am continues. So, how this continuity is there? This continuity is borrowed from the changeless self that is witnessing all the changes. So, by realizing your own self, which is absolute knowledge, Akhanda Bodham, Kalatraya Badhyam Abhadyam Akhanda Bodham. That know yourself to be that changeless thing which is not affected by the 3 periods of time. That which is Akhanda Bodham means knowledge which is partless. Knowledge which is devoid of subject-object duality. This Akhanda Bodham means, sometimes you may say Akhanda means endless, Akhanda means limitless. It's not that. It means akhanda here means without demarcation. I know myself. I am the subject. I am the object of knowledge. I know the process of me being aware of myself, that awareness is also me. So there is no, say, I know this book. Book is the object. I am the subject. There is a process of knowing the object. Subject-object duality. So this is Khanda Bodham, knowledge with demarcation of subject-object. Akhanda Bodham means that which is without any demarcation. There is no subject-object duality in my self-knowledge. I am the subject of my own knowledge. So Akhanda Bodham. That self which is self-evident is an absolute knowledge. It is not absolute knowledge. It is partless knowledge. The knowledge which does not have the subject-object partition. Jnatva swatmana upaihi shantim. Attain that swatmanam, your own self, upaihi, attain shantim. May you attain that pure peace which is your own self. Knowing yourself to be that eternal, changeless entity. So, it continues like this. We will see in the next class. Okay, last one, we will finish with this. Next one is the condemnation of the ego. That's another topic. So, we will finish with this one. Tejabhimanam kulagotranama rupashrameshva dasha vashrideshu lingasya dharmanapi kartutadim tyakta bhava khanda sukha swarupaha. Tyakta bhava khanda sukha swarupaha. Here, first is Tyaja Abhimanam Kula Gotra Nama. Hinduism is a caste-based society. Varna Ashrama Dharma. Varna is not caste, but anyway, we all know that Varna means different demarcations. So, all these Dharma, what we are talking, I am a Brahmana, I should behave like a Brahmana, I should do the things that are duty of a Brahmana. I am a Kshatriya, I should protect the country, I should protect my people, I am a Cavalier. I am a businessman, I should create wealth. These are all Varna-based distinctions. Your inborn nature. Based on which family you are born and what is your lineage and what are your qualities, what is your education, what is your social status, etc. Tyaja Abhimanam Kula Gotra Nama. Kula means which family you are born. I am the son of so and so. No. Then Gotra means your group of people, your social group, and Nama means your name. So, renounce your identity, self-definition based on family, the family social group to which the family belongs, and your name. Now, this is the translation for the common global translation. Now, the local meaning is Kula means my lineage, family lineage. Gotra means the ritualistic group, the religious group to which I belong. For example, I come in Vadhula Gotra, which was nourished by the three rishis, Bhargava, Vedahavi, Savedasa. Three rishis nourished Vadhula Gotra. So that's how, when you take blessing from the elders, we take all this Gotra and all that. And then, so that is why a person becomes a monk. Will not do this. Abhivari, Bhargava, Veda, I come from this lineage, who studied this Veda, all that sannyasi will not do. Because sannyasi has no family, no clan. So, you renounce your Gotra, Kula, Gotra, Nama, Rupa, Ashrameshu. Nama, Rupa means your name and form. This is my name, this is how I look, So that means a person who has renounced is not to be bothered about whether my orange dress is the correct shade that belongs to the ashram. Our orange is better than the other ashram's orange. We have a much better orange with a thin golden border. And then there is a specific shop that sells that orange robe for that specific ashram. Everybody, all the monks and nuns will buy only from that because it's a uniform. So, you are very happy to wear that. So, sannyasi is not supposed to be bothered what kind of orange dress I am wearing. So, how I am looking. And do I have a good beard? All this. My hair. There are sannyasis who shave, clean shaven, but hair will be like this. Paramahamsa, they call themselves. So these kind of ways are there. So this is all told not. So once a person is committed to self-knowledge and renunciation, you are supposed to give up your abhimana, means your self-definition based on your family, your lineage and your clan, your name, the way you look, and which stage of your life you are in. I am a householder, I am a renunciate, I am a student, etc. And ashraneshu, ashriteshu, ardrashava, ashrit, depending upon the all these different self-identities which are dependent on this foul-smelling dead body. But finally, that's what it is. All these, why it is taken foul-smelling is a fact, we know that. And why it is dead body? Because it is jada by itself. It is not self-animated. The body is fundamentally inert. It needs to be animated by the consciousness and the prana. So the body is inert, so it is dead body. It is dead anyway. Settar epol thirivar sittar. There used to be one old Tamil saying about these mendicants. No? They walk like as though they are dead. So a sannyasi is considered as already dead. That is why when a person becomes a monk, he does the final karma, what is done for a person after the person is dead. He does that karma for himself. He does it to the family, father, mother, even they may be alive. The death ritual for the father, mother, ancestors, 7th generation ancestors, and the death ritual for oneself. He does all the ritual and then you become a monk. So you are dead for the world, you are dead for this individuality. You are alive only for the truth. That is the idea of becoming a monk. Okay. So that is why it says. So the same idea is that how we can translate is, let us be watchful to not define ourselves. Whenever this self-definition comes based on family or social position or whatever, all these factors that are dependent on this body, may I treat it as purely functional and not defining me. Every time I tend to get carried away, let me be watchful and come back to the truth of myself, and in the free time, let me do something that will help me to be without any identity. One of the things that you can do is to go and stay in a place where nobody knows you, nobody respects you, nobody cares for you. To live in that place. Suppose you are a well-known person, you are a very famous person, you are a celebrity. Go to a place where nobody knows. We have one actor in India, one Rajinikanth. He goes to Las Vegas or somewhere else, some funny place in the world, and hangs on for some time because here nobody knows that I am a superstar or whatever. I can do what I want. I can go and drink, eat, just go to a small coffee shop. Nobody cares. And of course, if he is without makeup, nobody can look at him. So he goes there, and that identity, that you are not, you don't expect people to recognize you and all that. I don't know whether he does out of renunciation, but it is very helpful. So my teacher, it seems he used to do something like he will take a walkabout. He will take only one pair of dress and just walk from village to village. Very rarely somebody will recognize him, but mostly people will not know. So people will treat him like any wandering mendicant. So the special importance and respect and all that will not be there. Whatever is sociologically there, only that much will be there. And when sannyasis travel, that is why a monk is asked to be a mendicant, not supposed to stay in a place for more than 3 days. When he keeps walking like that, then attachment to specific things will not come. So give up your self-definition based on all these things that are dependent on the body. It does not mean only cognitively, it also means practically. So let each one of us practically strive to get rid of this self-definition through these securities and the different self-defining identities based on this body, family, society, etc. In our own way, whenever is possible, how much ever is possible, practically. Okay. So each one can try to do something, think about it, and then see what you can do. And the next one, after giving up, what do you do? Give up the attributes of the subtle body also. Lingasya dharmanapi give up the name. What am I? I am an independent person. I can do what I want. I can enjoy what I want. No. Give up the different self-definitions that come based on the subtle body, like the doership, etc. Don't consider yourself to be the doer or the enjoyer. It is not that I leave all the identity and become a hippie, because I have a hippie identity. Because I want to do something, I don't want to do some things, I want to enjoy certain things, I want to go for a joint. All this become because I am identified with the doership and enjoyership. So renounce that also. Tyaktva, giving up. Bhava, what bhava become? Akhanda sukha swarupaha. Become that partless self which is of the nature of absolute comfort, which is the highest comfort. Become that peaceful partless self which is the highest comfort. Don't seek for comfort anytime. Become your true self. Means what? Understand what you are, and then don't allow yourself to be lost in all these artificial sense of self that is created and sustained by effort. May you take refuge in the truth of yourself. That's what it means. Become means becoming by perfecting the knowledge. That is how it has to be understood. Om Swasti Prajabhya Parivalyantam Nyayena Margane Mahimmahishaha Nyayena Margena Mahimmahishaha Go Brahmanebhya Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Vashyato Parjanyaha Prithivi Sashalini Yeshoyam Kshoparahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Om Sarvesham Swastirбhavatu Sarvesham Shantirbhavatu Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhaved Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritam Gamaya Shanti Shanti Om Brahmanastu Om Tatsat. Any questions? Can we go for board? Yes. Oh, we have 5 minutes time.